The Washington Commanders fall to the Dallas Cowboys 32-23. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from today's loss. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and follow the channel as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football daily. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we're talking about the key takeaways from today's loss against the Dallas Cowboys. And so I always like to start with just really the points that describe this game. And so the first one being, I thought that the Commanders gave up a lot of big plays on defense. And I really felt like that the Dallas Cowboys were really able to get everything that they wanted offensively in this game because they had 3 drives that led to touchdowns. And in the first half, the Cowboys had 17 first downs compared to the Commanders' 18 plays. And so that just lets you know how the Cowboys were able to get up and down the field. And then they really dominated in the time of possession, talking about the Cowboys. And so 38-44 compared to the Washington Commanders 21-16. And the Cowboys were also converting on 4th down. And so that leads me to the next point. The Commanders battled back. They easily could have packed it in, but they made the plays that they needed to, tightened up defensively, and got themselves very much back into the game. And I know it ends up being a loss, but this is the type of loss that reminds me of what we saw against the Miami Dolphins and then also too against the Denver Broncos. Like, this was a very competitive game in which the Commanders could have won this thing. And so I like the fact that they didn't pack it in and they fought back to get back into this one. And the last point is just really the evaluations that take place in this game. I think that that was probably the biggest thing for the Washington Commanders. And in a lot of ways, it was a win. And so starting with what we saw on defense with Johnny Newton. And so Johnny Newton, young player here for the Washington Commanders, had a great game in this one. He had 3 sacks. That's the first time that a Commanders player has done that since Preston Smith did it in 2015. He also had 9 tackles. And that's huge because we've been talking about really how you have to be able to evaluate these younger players and you have to be able to see what you have as you continue to build with Jaden Daniels. And I love seeing this from Johnny Newton. I think that this shows you, what his potential is. You're just thinking, okay, if we can find a way to just get to that every game, you're going to have something. Obviously, this team needs some more pieces, but I thought that that was great to see. Also, I think another thing that we saw in this game, speaking of younger players on defense, Ricky Barber. And so Ricky Barber getting a chance to play for the Washington Commanders, got a sack in this game. He also had 5 tackles as well. And so just seeing that, I think is huge for the Washington Commanders, especially with all the injuries that this team has faced on the defense and the fact that Ricky Barber gets a chance out there and gets a sack. I love seeing that from the Washington Commanders in this game. And so those are some of the bright spots on defense. And then on offense, speaking of just evaluation and just really how this young core showed out in this game, I thought that Jacory, Croskey, Merritt, a.k.a. Bill, was terrific in this game. Like, I think that with Bill, he really showed us everything. Like, I think he showed us speed, he showed us cuts, he showed us burst, he showed us power. More importantly, he continues to show why he could be the Commanders' RB1. And I think he continues to show that he was an absolute steal in this last NFL draft. And so Bill looked great in this game, and I'm pretty sure he has to be in the running to win the Rookie of the Week. And so his numbers in this game today: 11 carries, 105 yards, 9.5 was his average, 2 touchdowns. He had a huge 72-yard play that ended in a touchdown. And he also had a very nice 10-yard play as well. But still, I loved what I saw from Bill today. He had to be featured in this game. Ultimately, Chris Rodriguez Jr. did not go due to an illness. And so it was good to see that Bill was able to step up here. And so he was another one of our younger players that really showed out in this game. Then next, just kind of looking at some of the other bright spots for the team. And so starting with Josh Johnson. And so I thought that Josh Johnson in this game looked a lot better than what he did last week. I think last week Marcus Mariota went down. He got thrust into the lineup. Just didn't look very comfortable. Didn't look good in this game. He looked very prepared. And I love the fact that he actually went down the field. And so I'm not saying that he was throwing like huge deep passes and stuff like that, but you could tell that he just wasn't just settling for screen passes and things like that. So I thought he had some good stuff to Debo and also to Terry. And I really loved what I saw from Debo in this game today, because with Debo, I think that this is the first time that we actually got a chance to see the usage to where he got a chance to be more of that yards after catch player. I think that that's really what we anticipated with Debo Samuel coming over to the Washington Commanders, was going to be this player that gets the ball in space, and he was just going to get to the yards after catch. And so I thought we saw that with the screen pass. I thought we saw that also with another catch that he had. He ran extremely hard. And you could just imagine that if this team were healthy and they were having this type of usage with Debo Samuel, this could be an offense that would absolutely be clicking on a week-to-week basis. And so good to see that we saw that in today's game. And so the numbers here for the wide receivers, Debo Samuel, 2 receptions, 68 yards. 34 was his average. 41 was his longest on 4 targets. And so he also did draw a pass interference as well. And so I thought his activity level was great. Next up, Terry McLaurin, 5 receptions, 63 yards, 12.6 was his average. We know what we get from Terry McLaurin. Didn't get to the end zone today on 7 targets. And so I like the fact that they were trying to get him the football. He actually led the wide receivers. And then Ben Sinnott. 3 receptions, 29 yards in this game, 9.7 was his average. And so it's good to see that we actually got a chance to see, Josh Johnson go to him and just really the offense go to him, because I think that with Ben Sinnott, you're very much trying to figure out, can he be tight end number 1? And so the fact that he was getting some passes today, I think that that was also too, part of just the bright spot in this game for the young core, is seeing that happen. Traylon Burks, 1 reception for 11 yards. Still liked what I saw from him, even though he got 2 targets. And so a tough one for the Washington Commanders because they lose the game. But I also think that at the end of the day, like, this is just one of those games where you like where you're at with your younger football team as far as like seeing like the evaluations. Like, I love what we saw from Ricky Barber, love what we saw from Bill. I like the fact that Josh Johnson was able to come back and just perform a lot better. And I like the fact that we saw the usage with Debo. And so hopefully if we get him back next season, we see some more of that. And then also too, man, just loving the fact that this team competed. It sucks again that they lost, but still, I like the fact that this team battled back. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking as the Washington Commanders fall to the Dallas Cowboys 30-23. They have one more game left against the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll be talking about that. Have a happy holidays. And as we always say, go Commanders. I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.